Bruins lose their first game of the Bruins record their first loss of the season with a 6-3 loss against the Philadelphia Flyers in Wells Fargo Arena. Welcome back to Into the Den. I'm your host Jay Freeman, and the Bruins, even if somehow in the third period they ended up mounting a comeback, I would still be pissed because they did not deserve to win in this game at all. It was Jeremy Swayman versus Martin Jones. Freaking Philly had only 25 shots on goal in this game, and they scored on 6 of them. The Bruins had 40 and they scored on 3. What the hell is going on with our offense? And especially against a team that has historically had terrible goaltending. But I did like the just getting right into it. I did like we'll get into one thing I did like. I did like how early on we were. Fuck, my guitar is falling. I did like the fact that we were putting like really good. There. I did like the fact that we were putting like really good early pressure on the Flyers. It wasn't like to the point where it was like Dallas where they couldn't record a single shot on net until the first until the last 5 minutes of the first period. But one thing that I did note is that the net front presence in for the Bruins this year is sort of following last year's trend of just not being, great. Like Pasta completely whiffed on a face-off on a scoring chance that was like right in front of the net, and off of face-off in the first 4 minutes. And I'll get into net front presence a little bit later, but the Bruins, for the most part, were good with keeping up with the Flyers for the first 10 minutes, and then just out of nowhere, a forecheck to Cam Atkinson and just kills any sort of momentum the Bruins had. And as a 2-on-1 and forces odd man rush, forces us into an early 1-0 hole. Well, and a little bit afterwards, we had an interference call against someone making their first appearance with the Flyers. I'll see it. He's in Rasmus Ristolainen, Risto was okay. I mean, it's hard to. Compared to Buffalo's defense right now. Compared to how it was in Buffalo, I guess it's not terrible, but at the same time, really nothing sounds terrible compared to Buffalo. I'm pretty sure the fucking one chip challenges sounds like a walk in a park compared to watching the freaking Sabres in January. But that sets up a Bruins power play in which there were zero recorded shots on net, but there was almost a shorthanded goal with Farabee, with Joel Farabee just blazing, and I think also Atkinson just flying down on another odd man rush. That was a big problem this game is letting the puck get behind us and forcing us to take odd man in rushes. And it really hurts when the theme of when your theme of speed for the Bruins is called in question, because Bruins are not fast enough to properly handle two on ones, and McAvoy can't take it up. Can't be the fucking second coming of Bobby Orr. But that almost leads to a shorthanded goal. But like less than a minute after the power play ends, and we get the call of the fourth line, and Trent Frederick, Thomas Nosek shoots, gets stopped, and then Trent Frederick also shoots and then gets stopped, and Carson Kuhlman is right there to just tap it in 1-1 game. And it was actually kind of hilarious because after this goal they had to like stop the game for like five almost 10 minutes, because is the bench door for the Flyers ended up freaking breaking. It was hilarious. But sorry. But fast forwarding to like later in the first period, the Charlie Coyle gets a sort of weak tripping call that leads to a Flyers power play, and like immediately after the tripping call, because of course it wasn't called immediately, Coyle just get either actually I think this was like right before the tripping call. Coyle just got his Charlie Coyle just got his shit completely rocked against the boards by Ristolainen. But on that power play, on that Coyle tripping call, on that Coyle tripping call, Flyers only get 2 shots on goal all power play, which sounds good until you find out that one of those shots on goal ended up going into the net. So it's a 2-1 game at the end of the first period, and it takes us to the end of the first period, and almost immediately in the second, the Bruins have another painful defensive breakdown, allowing Lawton to just to snipe it in through Swayman's 5-hole. 3-1 game for Philly. And it was at this point that I realized the Bruins again come into the second period looking completely out of order, completely exhausted, and it brings up the conversation again of the fact that hockey is a 60-minute game. If the Bruins want to continue being a top level team, they need to play all 60 minutes. They can't keep letting the foot off the gas and just cruising. I mean, we all remember 2013, and this team has showed us that if you take your foot off the gas at any moment, your any lead that you have could possibly is immediately at risk. And but what is it? A little bit at some point, Charlie McAvoy, when trying to actually no, when making a rush to the actually I forget where it was. I think it was I think he was going towards the Bruins goal, but a defenseman ended up getting him from behind, and it locked up his leg and forced him onto his back, and he slid right in back first into the goalpost, and he looked a little bit shaken up coming off, but he ended up coming back onto the he ended up coming back onto the ice later on. It's good to know that McAvoy isn't broken, because if he is, God help our defense. But later on in the in Taylor Hall ends up beating Philly at their own game. A forecheck from I think Derek Forward, I think it was one of our defensemen, but a forecheck ended up putting him past every defenseman, and got the bar down to 3-2 game. But at least there's hope. And almost immediately it feels like Philly's defense is just smothering us on our own territory, until Marchand takes a ricochet from Pasta right across the crease up over Martin Jones's leg, and ties it at 3 with a minute left in the second. And this was like the moment where I was like, maybe net front presence isn't a problem with the Bruins. But then I remembered one goal pressuring them heavy on the heavy in front of the crease does not mean that net front presence isn't a problem. Because for the one goal that they scored, there were like at the very least 6 or 7 that they could have gotten that were like right in front of the net. That took us to the end of the second quarter and second period, and then again, Bruins come out looking sloppy as hell, and Cam Atkinson on yet another odd man rush. You noticing a theme here? Yeah, the Bruins defense needs to step it up, and he takes another odd man rush into the net. 4-3 Philly. There's a and for like the next 10 minutes, it feels like there's just constant pressure back and forth. Like for 2 minutes, it'll be like constantly in Bruins zone, and then immediately it'll shift to Flyers zone. But neither team could really make anything happen. And then, but it felt like they were playing the top line, the golden line, a little bit too much. And sure, Pasta, Bergie, and Marshy is going to be the heavy goal scoring line, but it's not. But when boys are gassed, yes. And they looked exhausted, as evidenced by them not being nobody being able to get back on defense after a bouncing puck. Glennon and Travis Konechny's his path. He breaks away for another Philadelphia goal, and I cringe myself into a goddamn sarcophagus, because he is like the first name other than Matt Barzal that I name of players drafted after Zachary Senyshyn. But Brandon Carlo, fresh off a 6x4 extension and decides to get a little rowdy in the crease in Philly's crease with about 2:30 left after the game. You can't do that. He ends up taking a roughing penalty, and Bruins make the 200 IQ decision of pull the goalie with a pull the goalie so that we're playing 5-on-5 with without anybody in net, and they pay for it with an empty net shot from the blue line, from the opposing blue line, 6-3 Flyers. And again, if there's any takeaway here, it's partially that the better team won, and like the Flyers looked competent on every single line, on every single line. They were pushing us and pushing us and pushing us. But it's also that hockey is a 60-minute game, and yeah, if the Bruins want any success in the future, they gotta realize that quickly, and they gotta fucking do something about it. But that is it. Thank you so much for watching. And click like if you liked. Click subscribe if you super liked. And who knows? Maybe and freaking Bruins the game. Bruins the name. Speed certainly is not the game.